now enter the countdown system.
Hey, howdy, hey.
Hello,
Guess what time it is? It's season 2
boyos.
of the PRAXCAST.
We have a season?
Now we do.
That is awesome. Oh, boys, we are so back.
We're so back.
Yeah, we got a new episode. We got a new season of the Bad Batch.
Sir, yeah,
3 episodes. We are so fucking back. Star Wars is alive once again.
just in case you are just joining us for the first time in what seems like forever, I'm Missouri Angel. This is Corvus. This is Opie. This is
Hello.
And we have
In the house.
Morgoth. Welcome, brother.
Morgoth.
Hello there. Welcome.
General Kenobi.
So yeah, as Opie said, we're here to talk about the premiere, 3-episode premiere of the Bad Batch season 3, the final season, and how we think it's going to go and how we think it's going to end. Because this season, as much as like there are some grips we might have with the overall story in terms of overarch value, the as a self-contained story, it is pretty interesting to see what happens to the clones during the early Imperial era, and to see all the things that are changing around, whether it be the Stormtrooper program starting to take over, clones phasing out. Seeing it transpire in these first 2 episodes was pretty interesting and disturbingly depressing. I think we all were in sort of a downer mood after watching episode.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that first episode was an absolute downer. Like, no questions asked. Like,
Depression.
whenever.
Remember what I told you?
I do, bro.
Yeah, how'd you wake up, Morgoth, the next day? How'd you feel?
I was in despair.
Despair.
Yeah, I think everybody.
But yeah, watching the clone troopers that we all know and love and that we've lived through or lived within Star Wars: The Clone Wars slowly getting phased out and being replaced by like the new Imperial Order and the new Imperial Stormtroopers is fucking heartbreaking, to say the least.
Mhm.
Especially like even when it's like regular ass clone troopers that you don't even know about, but they all still share the same face, which makes it even more heartbreaking because it could be any clone that you probably have seen on screen at some point in time, but you just don't even know it.
I did really enjoy the direction of that first episode, like with the repeating scenes and like the ominous music in the background that just like it messed with your
Pretty
feelings
much
for sure.
every day for Omega was Groundhog Day. It's just
Yeah, it was Groundhog Day, and that added to like the sad, like depressing tone of this episode. It was
It's even worse because you like literally see her like straight up start to like lose like hope and like just like trying to like in any way, shape, or form like stay like herself, and then like you see like the markings on the wall get more and more, and then she just starts like becoming more and more depressed. It's weird. It's like it's some like I don't know. It's weird.
I'm pretty sure some.
Yeah, and like the one thing about animation has over live action is like, you know, the expressions, like when their eyelids are all hanging low and like, you know, like with crosshair, and whenever, I don't know, I was just watching that second episode, and whenever they show the clones in the med bay, like you can just tell like they're just
down.
like they're losing it.
Yeah.
Because of the Empire's new, as Hemlock calls it, the clone re-education program, where they're slowly indoctrinating all the clones into becoming, where they're becoming Imperial troopers again, or Imperial, like, centered. So not only are these clones being slowly phased out, by the stormtroopers, but now they're being re-educated and reprogrammed into becoming members of the Empire again, so they can go off to kill more clones probably later, because clone troopers are now becoming, part of rebellions and phases that they are going to be facing off against the Empire again.
I'm honestly more interested to see if they go the Dark Trooper, Death Trooper route, but with I don't know if they're gonna go like that deep, because it's kind of it's pretty brutal, because a lot of the clones in that storyline end up offing themselves because of how depressed they are, because the Empire just keeps doing experiments on them involuntarily, and
Live through all that.
they basically get the Spartan. They basically get the Halo Spartan upgrades, but in it's basically the same treatment, just being cybernetically upgraded against their will, and most of them being failed cases and dying because of their surgeries, and mostly just having a shitty existence overall.
That's a good.
But again, I don't think Dave would go that route, considering it's just the way things are. They're trying to keep it a semi-normal, kid-friendly tone, I guess.
Yeah.
Can't please everybody.
Even though a vast majority of the Bad Batch, I think, is mainly for, the people who actually sat through and watched the Clone Wars.
And the prequels in general. The prequel
And the prequels. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword, where it's okay, we have to keep it as friendly, and we have to keep it child-friendly and kid-friendly enough, and family-friendly enough to where they won't get pissed off if we show anything too bad, but we also need to keep it to where the fans will immediately recognize all of the crazy stuff that we get into, like the Dark Troopers and the cloning and the
Nah, because Kathleen Kennedy saw the Anakin burning scene and was just okay, let's just never do that again. Yeah? Never again? You disagree?
Here's the thing, Hayden, you can't scream "I hate you." That's offensive to Obi-Wan and his feelings, so you can't do that.
Anakin,
Okay.
Juju on that beat.
I'm burning you, dick! No, but are you GG on that beat though? I literally have no feet.
Just kill me.
Just kill me! Pain.
I can feel my eyelids roasting!
No, I don't think I will, you son of a gun.
I don't have eyelids anymore.
I'm just going to stand here and yell at you, even though you probably can't hear me because your eardrums are melted. Anyway, I'm going to take your lightsaber and leave now. Goodbye!
I'm gonna bury it in the desert just because I hate you.
I'm gonna give this to your son in a movie that's 40 plus years old. This will be
Don't ask me how that works. Okay, bye.
I also like that as time progresses, like we were talking about with Omega, not only do we see her get older, but we also see, so the everyday process of the clones is to get up, get escorted to this medical bay, and pretty much get their blood drawn, just to see if their M count has increased or not. Will it be? Is their blood vital to this project that the Emperor has going on for himself?
Well, they're mixing Palpatine's blood with theirs to see if it's compatible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not only
And we also have. I'm sorry. I was gonna let you continue.
It's okay. It's just not only do we see Omega get older with the same day, same thing, routine, but as time progresses, and me and Opie noticed this first, there were less and less clones and more stormtrooper cadets or recruits.
Yeah. Because in that first scene where you see Omega walking past Crosshair, you see there are about 7, maybe 8 clone troopers. But then on the second go around, after she makes that doll finally, you see that scene happen in the same way, and now there are only about 3 or 4 that are walking alongside Crosshair. So the amount of clones that are either being disposed of and or dying because of the experiments that are happening on them are becoming fewer and fewer by the day. Meanwhile, even more stormtrooper cadets are being added to the amount of individuals that are in Mount Tantus. which
The
is
only clones
fucking
you see-
insane.
The only clones you see around the facility by the end of the episode are just commandos everywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah,
you know,
including Scorch, my boy.
so and I didn't notice this till someone like pointed it out later after the fact, but the scene where Palpatine, I think it's when he's leaving. I don't know if about when he's showing up, but the commandos all of a sudden their visors are not lit. So I'm thinking like they have like the clones guarding the heavy, like when they walk in the very first episode when Nala Se and Hemlock walk to the vault and they tell she tells Omega to stay in the lab, um, and they go past the the microwaves. Um,
Yeah, the fucking
it's
Metal
all
Gear
there are
Solid 4
so
Death of the
there are
Patriots.
there's nothing but commandos guarding that place. So I'm like, okay, you guys, they've already like really don't. The Empire does not trust the clones at this point, and they're just like abusing them. I mean, they've been abusing them from the beginning, but you know what I mean. So, and
Yeah.
the end of season 2, Hemlock is like, I found other purposes for them. So I'm like, the theory is with the clone, and I don't know what's up with the commandos with Palpatine showing up on the landing dock, but the clones, their visors are not lit. So I'm like, you have the clones that you don't trust guarding like the vault and everything. That doesn't really make sense, like unless you've done something to ensure their loyalty. So the theory is that like they maybe they're like not like the Night Sister, like the the Night Troopers, but they're like some kind of zombie clones.
Personally, I think the commandos, like the reason there's so many of them. I always kind of thought that it was mostly only like the ARC troopers who had like really special relationships with certain
Yeah.
Jedi were able to break away from order, or like able to defy Order 66 or like question it afterwards after the fact. But I feel like for the commandos, it's different because it's like this is also why I kind of wish they like fully established the Camino Uprising and like kind of showed it in all its glory, because it would make a whole lot more sense now where they're like, okay, well, the regular clones didn't work out, but we have this whole other set of clones who are mostly fully obedient and don't fuck around like that, and it's all the commandos and whatever. So then Palpatine is just like, all right, fucking send that shit. Like, give me all the commandos. Like, if they're gonna be in line, and we're gonna do what I say, and we need them for the purpose we need them for, then yeah, order them bitches. Fucking next day shipping, and like, I would say it's just like. I mean, I don't know. Like, I think it would make a lot more sense, like narratively and just like retrospectively, if they just if they had shown that Camino Uprising before this season, and like obviously they showed Camino getting destroyed, but like if they like had some form of like that that storyline adapted into it, or just it in general, I think it would have been. I think it would have made a lot more sense,
I
but.
think we still will get a Uprising. It just won't happen in the expanded universe, which
It's
It's Disney's version of it, which is
yeah.
a whole other thing.
because you won't have the Kaminoan aesthetic, which I
Yeah,
think most of
that's-
us love.
Which is kind of what makes it what it is, but whatever.
Yeah.
that's my thing is there, and it's it's weird for me to say this, but like ever since, well, like Rebels, you had Rex and Wolf and what's his name, Gregor. Yeah, and like they had Wolf and Rex and Gregor, and then there was like one other clone in there. They had their helmets off a lot, but they still had armor.
talking about Wolf?
So yeah, Wolf. I thought I
Yeah.
mentioned him, but
Yeah.
so they have their helmets off, so they have like their individuality then, but they still have armor on. So what I guess what I'm saying is Disney's version of the clone uprising is going to be, they're making the rebellious clones more like rebels. Like they're trying to make them look more like rebels, because those young clones that you see in the first episode with that are the Daniel Logan, that played by Daniel Logan. I pointed this out right before I was watching the episode just to like refresh my memory, and I'm like, you know, because there's a point where those boys, they're like, yeah, they're talking to Wrecker and Hunter, and they're like, "How have you survived all this time?" And the you know, the young ones are like, "We're soldiers, or we were supposed to be." And I was like, "Man, these guys got to be so like envious of Hunter and Wrecker because they have the arm, like they're on they're all fending for themselves." But they got the armor, they got all the gadgets and everything, and these guys have spears, dude. And they just been like, they were bombed, and they just had to flee, and they
That was
through it, you know.
that was one of the things I did like. Another thing about that like those specific episodes was they like them being more lenient with like like them talking about like Empire creating like bioweapons or like projects that have like gone south, like that tentacle monster thingy. I just kind of wish.
Sarlacc.
Yeah, yeah. There was a whole ass Sarlacc, which I want to I kind of want to know more about that because like that was a big ass Sarlacc if it was covering that much area. But
Yeah.
mostly like I kind of wish they would straight up adapt like Project like Blackwing because like honestly like the whole thing in Ahsoka like the Project Blackwing was like kind of like that zombies thing, Night Sister magic was kind of just like felt more like another like fucking shout out to Legends fans, like small little hey here you go, like little fucking ooh piece of candy, like it was just like I'm specifically that kind of stuff. I want like full like respectful adaptations. I don't want like little droplets of like the shit I like. It feels more because like at first it was like oh sick like I see it. I see what they're doing. I see it, but that was earlier, and you know, it felt more like, oh, well, maybe they're planning to do something. But now we're this far ahead, and it's like, y'all are still just giving me droplets. What do you mean?
Well, and like one thing that has me excited, like we've all been talking about the last, not even a week. It's been 4 or 5 days since it came out. But one thing that kind of has a lot of us excited is that. Like, I mean, yes, like we know they're showing how to pave the way for the sequels, but and you know, it sounds very like polarizing the way people are saying like, oh, they're gonna like when people say like they're gonna retcon the sequels, but it's the fact that like the sequels didn't really explain very well how Palpatine came back, so they are adding more context to it. But the thing that has us all like, I think all of us excited, and me especially, is like these other experiments that are going on, like those tentacles, and that because that wasn't the Sarlacc, or it was like a mutated
It
Sarlacc.
just looked like a bigger Sarlacc, just like it looked like a Sarlacc, but just way bigger.
There's something, yeah, and there's something not like weird about those clones. Like people pointed out that some of them were kind of zombie like, you know.
Do you remember
like Ahsoka, like you could you know how in the background in Ahsoka you could see the night troopers kind of like dopey and kind of leaning over before it was revealed that they were zombies. So it's like I'm just anyway, the point is I'm so excited to see like all this other like Mount Tantus stuff that's just been released out there.
No, I know for sure because like we know that they're definitely doing other shit to the clones besides like just taking their blood. Because there's literally a scene where like it's like Omega, she's like in her bed, like on her like little fucking coffee table thing, and is basically just like chilling there. But then you just hear like a clone scream from like another room, which honestly I'm not gonna lie, like that part and like all of that shit haunted me for like the rest of it, because like I just kept thinking about like what is they doing to my boy, like no, but like I don't know, like I want them, I'm really hoping it doesn't just like become like a oh yeah like hint hint they're doing other stuff, it's darker than you think, like oh yeah I know they are, it's the Empire, but like can we actually see what's going on over there? Can I get into that other room?
I know exactly.
Corvus, I just want to know something. Are you trying to tell me that Poe's explanation of somehow Palpatine returned was not already the perfect way to explain why Palpatine returned?
007, never enough.
Fortnite.
Of course, you had to play Fortnite to find out how Palpatine came back to the Star Wars universe.
I didn't
fucking
know
Fortnite in 2019 is crazy.
Stupid.
So like the whole like I love another thing you know, we have like our science, like in our world and everything. We have the way our science works, but I love this is like one of the things I love about the vastness of the Star Wars like mythos and everything. It's like adopting its own science rules, and so like one of these things that I was like reading about, like all the, you know, response to the 3 episodes was that, like, you know, what are they doing with Omega? And it's like apparently she, like, it's not that she has like a shit ton of midichlorians, because a lot of that's like kind of what a lot of people assume, or that's what you would assume, like that's why she's special. But the theory is that she has a gene in her that it's a gene that like doesn't reject, or it doesn't dilute midichlorians once you transfer the essence transfer and everything. That, so it's like a lot of people are like, oh, she's just going to become a Jedi, and it's like, I don't know about that. Like, I don't think she's going to magically become a Jedi, but like she, or like force powerful or anything. But it's the fact that she has some kind of gene, because she's unaltered, to where it's like this special gene that doesn't start to degrade the midichlorians once they're like fused together, like the gene, you know, the cloning process. It's so hard to explain.
That's what I was thinking, because I always assumed that a bunch of the regular clones weren't qualified to be doing that, or to have their genetics be tested for that, because of the whole, well, most of these clones, like especially Crosshair and Hunter and Wrecker, all of these clones are like extremely defective clones that have been through the fucking ringer, which is why they're called 99s. And a lot of the other clones are either, you know, they're Gen 2 clones, or they're Gen 3 clones, or so far down the line that they're at the point where their genetics are already like extremely screwed because of the amount of times that Jango Fett's original DNA had been manipulated to create more clones, since it took like years upon years and hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of clones to actually do all this shit.
Because they mentioned that, like, well, I think it goes as far back as Clone Wars season 3, like the Jango Fett sample was being stretched out,
Yeah,
so much that it was actually starting to lose its strength.
yeah, and its integrity. So that's why Omega and Boba are, you know, they're just direct clones of the big boy himself, Jango Fett. And that's why Nala Se was wanting her back, so they could create more and better signified and better genetically engineered clones, so they can keep their position as, like, you know, creators of the Grand Army of the Empire for Palpatine himself. But, you know, Palpatine thought it was just cheaper to have regular old dudes just be like, LOL, fight for my country.
I don't know. I just like that Palpatine appearance with his royal guards. They look awesome.
Oh yeah, that wasn't terrifying or anything.
That was awesome.
It's crazy.
For real, bro. It.
Because I said this during the reaction.
Go ahead.
The reaction will be up on the channel soon.
Hell yeah.
Clone Wars art style has come
So far.
along.
Oh my god, no, because when we really thought the season 1 of Bad Batch was like, holy shit, this blows fucking Clone Wars season 7 out of the water, we were not ready. We were not ready, bro.
Like the dynamic imagery of season 3 of the Bad Batch, it makes season. It makes season 1 of the Clone Wars look like it was created by a freshman art student.
For real.
Dude, they literally all agree. Even everyone who worked on Clone Wars season 1 literally agrees, like, holy fuck, it's not good. Jesus
Kryptonite.
fuck! He looks like a 7-year-old
Fucking-
acid druid. My God.
Fucking Adobe Flash player is fucking insane.
George Lucas is just like, I gave them all the tools they needed. I just don't get how they could fuck it up this bad.
Listen, Dave,
But George, it was 2008. You had technology was inferior.
listen, Dave, I'm going to level with you. Season 1 of Clone Wars looks like it comes on new grounds.
For real.
Oh no.
Imagine being told that your multi-million-dollar project looks like it came off of Newgrounds.
Whenever you watch a Clone Wars movie and like you see Ahsoka smile, you're just like, ew. Like,
Ugh.
it
Dude,
just
speaking-
doesn't look like that anymore.
Speaking of the animation, like one thing the other day I kept like going back to the scene like Palpatine's arrival, like not like when he's on the ground, but when they fly in. That was like I don't know. Tantus is cool, man. Like the lightning and the clouds and everything. Like we've been waiting for years to see Tantus in canon, you know. And like that like I love Palpatine's theme. He's had that like operatic theme since I think the like Clone Wars, whenever he shows up to fight Maul and Savage, and like they did it again when he comes out in in the Senate and Bad Batch Senate, like season 2, the whole like Senator Chuchi like Rampart arc, and like when he's flying in like with the shuttle and the fighters, like I went back and watched it like 3 times. I was like, this looks so good, dude. I went back to season 1 and I was like, ooh.
Yeah, for real.
Ugh. Why do you look like somebody tried to put a fake Palpatine mask over a person's unordinary sized head?
For real, for real. You know, the only thing I'm afraid of with how much they're cliffhanging and just getting us interested into what this project Palpatine is working on, I'm afraid that it's simply just Snoke. Because we already know he exists. We already know that happened. I want at least something else or something bigger than that. Something different. That's all I know.
Well, I mean, the thing was called Project Necromancy, I believe.
Yeah. And
So it obviously has to do with my boy coming back to life
I
and,
think Snoke
you know, his resurrection.
Snoke isn't for another. Let's give it 14, 15 years down the line.
okay, so we have time.
Because I don't think Palpatine really like got paranoid about his death until Luke Skywalker started coming around, or even Ezra Bridger himself. Because the more Jedi that were coming around,
What are some theories we have then? Like what's in
Well, all my theories I had on Palpatine and like his attitude towards like fearing death and like who he's afraid of and whatnot kind of got thrown out the fucking window once Dave was like, "A world between worlds. I'm gonna fucking have Ahsoka go back in time so she's fucking alive and shit." So, and by the way, Palpatine is like laughing and shit as he's trying to kill Ezra. He knows how to use the world between worlds, but it's only for this one fucking time.
That was very well articulated. I really appreciate that entire analysis.
Sith alchemy is like the most like Disney's version of Sith
Alright.
alchemy is the most poorly explained, poorly shown thing. It's
I
so
agree with that
disappointing.
because we've only got examples of Sith alchemy like a handful of times in like actual
Sequels.
canon. Sequels. Yeah, sequels.
the first time we actually see it is season 6 of the Clone Wars when Yoda is like he's
Having fucking LSD dreams.
yeah, pretty much. And Palpatine thinks
Bro was higher than Cade Skywalker.
Crazy.
And him and Dooku do like this Sith ritual that is like supposed to keep Yoda at bay. And put him basically in this genjutsu that he can't get out of.
Bro got put in a genjutsu. That's crazy.
Went straight fucking with Kodo Amatsukami on that motherfucker. Jesus Christ.
Palpatine unlocked the Sharingan. Like that's
I don't know. It was Palpatine. He probably just ripped it out of some poor bastard's eye, like
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
Madara did.
There you go.
He's freaking,
Or Donzo.
freaking Donzo, yeah.
That's what
Yeah, see, I was mine now. See, yeah.
Yeah.
Omega's blood is just to see if she's a new Uchiha. That's all it is.
Oh
my
god.
When
They're gonna
worlds
train her
collide.
up. They're gonna train her up to become a fucking ninja, and then when she gets the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, they're just gonna rip it out of her eye socket.
Nah, see, what you're missing here is the fact that she's actually a Senju, and that the bloodlines are gonna cross, and then she's gonna be like a mix of Hagoromo. And,
So does that mean that Palpatine's gonna have Omega's face on his chest
Jesus,
the entire time?
my God.
You should probably be put on the list for that.
Palpatine is already on every list known to man. Literally after Palpatine took over, every single like ex-separatist and like fucking Republic leader was just like, this man needs to go on a highest fuck list, and just
Not even just that, just off the child grooming itself. Mall.
bro is banned from every space Airbnb in the vicinity.
Bro, it's not even just Airbnb; it's space Airbnb, just to be like generalized.
The space Hilton.
If you count Dooku, that's kind of senior abuse because Dooku's older than.
Yeah.
I'm
Bro,
sorry, sir.
okay.
I'm sorry, sir. We don't accept Dark Lord, Overlord, Space Galactic Dictators in our hotel, and we can't take their what is it? Discovery. Oh my God, this dude has a fucking Discovery card. Look at this fucking loser.
I feel like you're specifically targeting me, and I'm not very appreciative of it.
Yes, sir. If you're wondering why I'm laughing at you, it's because you carry Discovery. What Dark Lord intergalactic ruler carries Discovery?
Well, obviously the kind that wasn't approved for a MasterCard!
You're telling me you rule the galaxy in its entirety, and you can't get your own MasterCard?
Okay, look, ruling the entire galaxy is harder than it looks, okay? You can rule the entire galaxy, you can send fleets of ships anywhere, but apparently you can't get a damn MasterCard, okay? That's what I'm saying.
I've waited in the space DMV line for 16 hours, and I had to kill 14 people just to get my space license. Do not tell me what is hard.
Oh, that
Great.
grooming he did to Omega. That's why he can't get his MasterCard.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
There's your bit for the day, by the way.
oh yeah. Do you guys think, and this is, what is it? Well, I was gonna say age-old question, but it's only been like a year and a half or something. Do you actually think that Tech is dead?
Yes, he's dead.
Probably.
I mean,
No. My favorite, I think I said this before, but my favorite theory is that they're gonna like maybe like salvage him, and he's somehow alive, like he was about to die, but they salvage him and they turn him into like a fucking dark trooper, death trooper, whatever. Yeah, dark tech, and then he comes out, he's just like Hunter, he's just glitching, Hunter, and then they're just like, oh my God.
Resistance
It's my boy.
futile, bro.
I love the part in the Bad Batch Season 3 where Hunter gathers all of the fucking clone troopers together and says somehow Tech returned.
Yeah. greatest moment ever. Greatest show
greatest
ever.
moment in Star Wars history.
I'm gonna be
So-
honest. I'm tired of people coming back in Star Wars. So to be honest, I don't
Yeah, it's
want
great.
to be alive. I'm like,
I feel
That's my
like
take.
Let that motherfucker stay dead!
I feel like
For real.
like
Diminished.
it would affect them more.
for real.
Also,
Keep it dead. Yeah.
wait a minute. We're getting an incoming transmission. From who?
What?
Well, if
From
it's from our
Riggs.
favorite space Aussie. Riggs! Yeah, here!
What's up, Brinks?
What's up? Oh, I didn't know we were getting messages from Space Australia. That's awesome.
I know.
Oh, I got recording now.
They're not even
Ew.
they're not even part of the main galaxy. They're just literally like they're separate. Space Australia is just completely separate. Yeah, that's where Ahsoka went. That's where Ahsoka went. She didn't even go to like the other part of the
And
galaxy.
guess what? She
went to
stayed because
space.
she loves it so much.
Yeah, she wants to Space Australia.
Have you ever gotten stung by a fucking blue ring Australian octopus? You die
No.
instantly.
Yes, you do.
God.
Saints fucking skits, my bro.
Rinks,
So,
since you're here.
Oh
wait, Corvus, you go first.
I was gonna say. Oh, there he goes. I was gonna say.
Oh, you say one thing about fucking blue ring octopus, and you suddenly the Australian suddenly leaves.
Yeah, that got him mad.
Hey, we're sorry, Rinks. Being an Australian octopus is a good thing.
Especially a blue ring one.
Oh,
Everybody thinks you're cute, and then you murder them.
Okay, welcome back.
So, how are we feeling, Rinks? How are we feeling about these 1, 2, and 3 episodes so far?
Honestly, I haven't taken that much away from it. I just hope they don't try and make the sequels look better. Because, no one wants that.
Wait till he finds out.
Does he know?
Does my brother know?
Does my brother in Australian Christ know? Also known as Steve.
Rinks, if you didn't know that end scene where they show like them red tubes and shit, that's like basically the exact same thing that was on Exegol in the sequels, and that's kind of their stamp, being like, hey, we're gonna fix all the plot holes that we made, all the fuck ups we made.
Pretty much.
Wow.
Also yet another thing that Vader knew about that he never told Luke before he died.
Speaking of Vader,
Oh, yeah. Yes. Corvus,
can we talk about? So we kind of came up with the theory. Like, okay, so this is like this is like the thing everybody wants. So who knows? Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. So let's say, because it's like at this point the Empire's not gonna take them. Like the troops aren't gonna take them down. No military officer is gonna take them down. It's gotta take because they are like the Bad Batch is like where one of them fails, the other one makes up for that. You have Wrecker, who is not very smart, but he's got he's got a heart. He's got a big heart. He's a strong.
That man can run with a fucking gauntlet on his back.
He's the Hulk in the equation.
Literally.
You had Tech. Like Tech was a cheat code, so it made sense that he died first because Tech was like he was like the fucking I'm thinking Overwatch characters.
No, low-key,
so
I'd say Echo was that. I'd say that was Echo because he could just know exactly where they were.
So anyways, they all like make up for each other's weaknesses. Like Hunter is very good at tracking. He's good at weapons. Like he's like the leader. He's basically what's his name? The leader of Delta Squadron. I forgot his name. But anyways, it's like, okay, this may be just the thing everybody to happen, but what if Vader comes in at the end? Yeah, Boss, that was his name. So if Vader comes in, and I'm thinking it's like poetry, it rhymes. Like the beginning is going to come back to the end. So the beginning, you find that you think they're going to Tantus, but they go to this other planet that's been bombed by the Empire, and there's all these experiments there. So I'm like, what if they just come full circle, and the ending, because they bombed Camino, they bombed whatever planet that was with the venomous tentacular. I keep calling them that because those tentacles reminded me of Harry Potter. But they just don't give a fuck anymore, and they're just like, if we're gonna do anything it takes to get our way. So in the end, what if it's similar to like Rogue One? You know how Vader is standing there and he's like, prepare a boarding party, and like, what if he's just like, you see the Star Destroyer come out of hyperspace and it's Vader, and he's just like orders the planet to just be bombed.
Hold up.
That they're on.
What if Vader comes because Ventress is in the season?
That's another thing.
Yeah,
that's
true.
another thing too. She's gonna play some part in that. But what I could see, what we were talking about the other night is like, what if, because the Bad Batch, they always find a way when they're up against Imperials, when they're up against like gangsters and like the criminals and like bounty hunters. They always find a way. So that's kind of what was happening in Rogue One. Like the little band of rebels kept breaking through and breaking through. So then finally Vader like shows up to shut them all down. And so what if they do something reminiscent of that, where he's like, just bomb the planet, like get rid of all of them, like Hemlock, all of them. And because Hemlock also knows a lot, and so they can't afford for him to be captured or anything. So
Right.
what if they try to like bomb the planet, and the Bad Batch still, they can get away from a bombing. You already saw those young clones get away from the bombing in the first episode. So they get away, and you're like, oh, it's going to be a happy ending. And then it's like, boom, Vader.
He just
Vader
fucking
takes him
spawns
out,
in
dude.
with his
I don't
legs.
think that'll do that.
Unwise to run from the bombings.
I'm excited for that, though, because, like, you know, we had, in animation so far, we had, the first time Vader showed up in animation was Rebels. And then, so, you know, Rebels had its unique style. Everything was, like, skinny and, like, slender and, like, tall. And then you get into Clone Wars, and you finally got to see, like, Vader looked so good in that last episode of Clone Wars Season 7. So I'm excited. Like, I hope he shows up, because the animation has come so far. And, like, you know, Vader is going to look even better if he shows up. And, like, you know, you just have, it's either going to be Vader or some kind of, like, what I'm hoping with this experiment thing they're doing, because it's not just to like prolong Palpatine's life. We've already seen in the 3 episodes that they're doing a lot of other things. They made a mutant's Sarlacc pit, basically. So, like, I'm waiting for that, like, that boss fight where it's like some, you know, mutant dark trooper or something, you know, something crazy that takes them all out.
Damn.
I'm just waiting to see the 501st Vader's fist on screen. Like, after you read so many of those Star Wars Purge comics where, like, Vader's just going around just hacking down traitors to the Empire and Jedi, we want to see that type of stuff on screen after
For real.
Oh yeah.
Too Ventress.
that.
I want Ventress to die.
Oh yeah, I can guarantee you that if Vader does interact with Ventress, she's gonna get clapped immediately,
He's like, you gave me that scar years ago. Here's one to match it.
and then he just gouges out her eyes or
This is
something.
crying baby type shit.
You almost took
There's no
my
way she's
eye.
surviving.
Now I'm going to take that hair.
You won't be surviving this time.
Don't talk back to me with your $30 haircut.
Or maybe because he's a
Let me
different
speak
person.
to the manager ass haircut.
Maybe because he's a different person, he just acts like he doesn't know her. He's like,
Oh no!
She's
No,
just like,
this
I
is-
think I know you. You kind of move like someone I know, and he's just like, I don't know what you're talking about, you stupid bitch.
I'm Darth Vader.
You called me a bitch. You're Anakin. No, the fuck I'm not. Shut the fuck up.
I'm the Dark Lord of this.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
Nuh-uh.
Stupid.
That second episode, you really kind of feel bad for those, like we were talking about the Daniel Logan clones, how they were just abandoned. Well, they escaped, didn't they? They escaped.
Well, they basically, like, the people who were like watching them essentially were just about to leave them for dead or essentially kill them, because they were doing the same thing they were doing with, like, yeah, but to them on like a smaller facility level, and they were working on that fucking Sarlacc thing. But I guess it's like, I don't even know how exactly they got out again, but shit. They done did it.
So okay, if I can add to that theory just now, because like the way we were kind of spinning it the other night was way cooler than the way I put it. So, like, the way, so it would be so poetic though if like you know, they try to just like glass whatever planet the Bad Batch are on in the end, and it doesn't work because you know, you saw those Daniel Logan clones, like the young ones, get away and survive on their own. So like, who's to say the Bad Batch wouldn't survive? You know, they get out somehow. And then like the thing that would be cool, like Azure mentioned the 501st, you know, the new 501st. And that's what I think. I think by the end of this show, we're gonna see the final stormtrooper arm, not the final order, but you know, because they're using the TK stormtrooper armor now. They're progressing to the you know, the original stormtrooper armor. So then that, what if that's like our first look in the Bad Batch of the stormtrooper armor we know? And wouldn't that be so like poetic and like dramatic if, you know, it's like, this is what Vader's fist became, like the 501st, and they like, it's, you know, it's like their brothers taking them out because they're the ones that still are loyal. That would be so cool if they brought back like the 501st journal, like subtly through that way, you know?
Yeah.
It's like they're ordered to take them out, you know, and they succeed because they have Vader like leading.
Give
them.
your hopes up. That's not gonna happen.
Another reason we have this theory about Vader and the 501st coming in is because the last series finale episode comes out on May the 1st. That's 501, baby.
501.
501, baby.
And think about this, like the first time we saw the Bad Batch was an Anakin arc, like with the 501st. It was on the Anaxes like arc in season 7. So it you know, it just puts a nice cap on it, and it's like it comes full circle. Like their final mission, their first mission, it wasn't their first mission. You know, the Bad Batch had already been a thing. We just didn't know
First
it yet.
appearance, Anakin.
Their first
last
appearance,
Vader.
yeah. And sorry, but, yeah. Man.
When we arrived on Kashyyyk, things were just as bad as we'd feared. The droids had us outgunned, outmaneuvered, and outmanned by a 5-to-1 margin. What none of us had counted on was the Wookiees.
I just wonder if this whole Battlefront Classic Collection thing, it's coming out in less than 2 weeks. It's 2.5 weeks. What? Yeah, yes, but let me just tie that into Bad Batch. Like the this is such a fever dream. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but we do know that they are sprinkling legends in there. They're on Tantus, like they're sprinkling legends in there a little bit. So yeah, just let it pour. You know, like on Madonna. Just pour the bucket right on Madonna. So like, I hope that this.
What the fuck did you say right on Madonna?
You know how she pulls the cord and she does this thing on her?
That's
I like
fucking
that
crazy.
I like
So
that
anyways,
better.
the oh man, so I hope that the fact that they're bringing back the Battlefront deal, and you know, they're bringing the 501st journal back, you know, that whole aspect back into play. I hope that means we get a little sprinkle of that, dude, because it's like, you know, the Clone Rebellion, oh my god, dude, for real. There's so many possibilities.
Our Clone Rebellion, my lord. Is that legal? I will make it legal.
We're gonna have to get this whole Discord.
Also,
64 people multiplayer on like.
oh, we don't even have 64 people in our server. What the fuck are you talking about?
We have like over 100.
What are you talking?
Oh, you're talking about like.
Well, I mean, people who are actively online and who actually like participate in conversations and shit.
So, Battlefront, Azure.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Inspire and this film, they are re-releasing the original Battlefront from 2004-2005 on every single console, and it's cross-gen.
Let's go.
All systems.
It's leaning towards that it may not be crossplay. We don't actually have an official confirmation, but you know,
No, there is. It's gonna be cross-platform. It was confirmed.
I thought it was cross-gen only.
No, it's crossplay and cross-gen. Or cross. I don't know, but crossplay, yeah.
Dude, the fact that this game is coming back some 20 years after the first one released is absolutely insane. I think, here's my personal take on it, I think Lucasfilm Games kind of feels bad for the Battlefront community.
Bro.
Since 2015, bro.
They're like, here's a bone. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry our last good game was on the PlayStation Portable. My bad.
They canceled Battlefront 2 in 2017 and it was just getting good. Life service stopped for that in 2020. Here we are, 4 years.
They made a Django Fett video game and then they disappeared.
When the world needed it most, it vanished.
I just feel about like the OGs coming back though, because this is pretty exciting.
That's gonna be awesome.
I really hope other games or like other shit follows suit and are like, oh my god, like the people like the old stuff. Oh my god.
Bro.
I think it really started when Jedi Academy and Republic Commando got ported to like PS4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then,
And the Rogue Squadron series.
yeah, they got literally everything. They got everything ported to like the newer consoles.
It's Aspire, man. Like, say what you want about like the Old Republic remake, like they do good with this old stuff. With porting.
Yeah, they got that crazy shit.
They'll actually make a HD remake of those games instead of just like a port.
Yeah.
I think the Jedi Academy games, like, because Corvus and now see what they do with the mods, and we're playing with that pretty soon. What they do with the mod, like the modding community for Jedi Academy is so elite. Like all the models are updated to like modern standards, all the maps and texture, everything. These guys put in hours of work, and we really appreciate those guys. If only the companies had that sort of ambition to like present that type of quality product or HD remake, that would be sick.
Right.
That would be sick. And it's simple lines of code, really, because these are older games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't take a whole bunch.
And I mean, like, how many Star Wars games have they actually ported to like newer consoles anyway? Both of the Knights of the Old Republic games are available for Switch. Like,
Rogue Squadron trilogy is available for Switch.
yeah, the Jedi Academy games,
The
all of the
games, I think.
Yeah, all of the fucking older games are available readily for most of, if not all of the new modern gen consoles.
They're slowly working their way through the old games, though. Like, you know, the KOTOR game, the remake, has been so on the up and up, and as far as we know, it's canceled. But they are coming out with the re-release of Dark Forces.
Yeah.
So that's not the first. I don't think is that the first Jedi Knight game. I think it is
the first Jedi.
So what if they? Because there was that Jedi Outcast like remake that we watched on YouTube somewhere, and it looks so good, and it's not like an official thing. Yeah. I was like, dude, I like this. Like, I don't even want to go back to the original game. So it's like, what if they make their way through? They're making their way through the Jedi Knight games because they've got to start. They're like, it's weird, you know, because they waited so long for the sequels, and so they made these 3 movies, and it's like we got the very end of a story when there should have been like a lot more building up in canon because they retconned everything that was canon, you know. They should have built towards the sequels a little more, and that's another thing that's been talked about with the Bad Batch is like they're finally kind of like paving the road for a lot of things. And not just like, oh, it leads to the sequels if you don't like the sequels, but it's also like you got to flesh it out more. So I hope that the fact that they're going, I hope they go through all the Jedi Knight games and
I was just
remake
about to
them.
say that.
And they're doing the Battlefront thing, so they're reincorporating, you know, the legends and everything. and you know, we got Thrawn back. I the one thing I also, just to like to put a cap on this, the one thing I hope does not happen by the end of this season of the Bad Batch, I really hope that Tantus doesn't get destroyed, because that means we can't see it. Thrawn, because I want to see Thrawn go back there in Ahsoka, like Ahsoka season 2 or wherever he pops up again. I think Ahsoka season 2 is gonna just be her and Sabine and Shin and whatever, like that whole separate thing, and then Thrawn is gonna show up in a different production. Well, I want to see like that Legends, you know, like something with the Joruus Sabaoth and everything. I hope that Tantus stays intact, you know.
Yeah. And the thing that really gets me about the whole, oh, well, the Bad Batch is setting up the sequels and how everything happened, it's like, okay, but you could have done that before you released the sequel trilogy, though. Like, you could have done that, but you didn't. Because you wanted to make $1 billion for each movie, and you did. So now you have no financial, like, stake to it.
It would be great if you actually mapped out your writing plan.
Yeah, that would have been great.
Just any plan in general would be fantastic.
I mean, it's not like you're a multi-billion-dollar corporation that can afford to hire, you know, writers or artists or literally anybody that has an imagination and not the IQ of a fucking common slug. Yeah, fucking up the entirety of everybody's childhood by saying somehow Palpatine returned when trying to explain how...
Through a Fortnite event, by the way.
Through a Fortnite event, by the way!
Yeah.
I just kind of...
Oh, don't fucking remind me, for God's sake!
I
hate it! I hate.
It's weird, but I kind of just remain hopeful that they, you know, they can build up and world build and do all this stuff, and I kind of remain hopeful that they make everything else. How do I say this? Like, it's just like, you know, you either love the sequels or you hate the sequels. It's so like polarizing. But you know, there is a way you can make everything else surrounding that lore like good. You know, it's okay if it's better than the sequels. Like that's kind of like for everybody who doesn't like the sequels. I just like hope, you know, we all like, you know, it's like it's okay if everything else surrounding them it can be better than the actual sequels themselves. Like there is like a way to kind of, you know, because it's so like polarizing too to just say like just retcon it, because not everybody wants to see it, and that's kind of unrealistic. So, you know, they can kind of build around it and make it more cohesive at least.
Well, has anyone seen the Resistance show or whatever it's called?
Season 1. Season 2, I fell off. This was like when Disney Plus launched. Like it has barely any lore. It connects to the sequels a little bit, which isn't a good thing. But like it's not worth watching. You don't need to watch it.
I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna go on a little bit of a rant here. But we can edit this out, by the way, because, you know, I'm just wanting to talk real shit. I hope the guy who wrote the script for the scene where Poe is explaining all that shit, I hope the person who decided ultimately, let's introduce Palpatine's return through a Fortnite event, I hope you get sodomized by a guy named Big Benny while you're in prison. Because that is the most abhorrent shit I've ever heard of in my entire life. You have a multi-billion-dollar IP, you're creating a movie that's going to guarantee make you $1 billion easy, and your whole idea is basically, let's throw in a collaboration between Star Wars and Fortnite to explain how Palpatine returned to the wider galaxy. Fuck you.
For
Just... Just everything about the sequel trilogy was just like terrible and abhorrent, but
A dumpster fire.
a dumpster fire even. You can say what you want about the prequel trilogy and how bad you think it was, but at least they didn't introduce shit through a fucking Fortnite event. Oh, we had RuneScape. but nobody said anything to a RuneScape event now, did they? They could have been like, oh, hey, you know what's a great idea to introduce Palpatine's speech in the middle of fucking Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith? Throw it on fucking RuneScape! But no, we didn't do that because we were a society back then, before Harambe got shot in the face. I'm so lost. Roads lead from Star Wars. All roads lead back to Harambe.
It's like ABY and BBY. It's like 13 before Harambe got shot. 13.
This man has seen long averages.
Remember, all roads lead back to Harambe. That is it. After Harambe got shot by that fucking zookeeper, everything fucking changed.
HGS. Harambe got shot. It's like 0 HGS. 2 H.
We're gonna take a quick commercial break. First,
We need-
if you're looking for any fragrance in life, well, I think General Balin's skull might have the scent for you. Take it.
What defines the essence of a warrior? Is it the strength that echoes through the night, or the subtle dance between power and grace? Introducing a fragrance that captures the spirit of the untamed, where duality meets destiny.
How inevitable.
Can you feel the invigorating notes of black pepper and bergamot echoing the vitality of a wolf's howl?
I miss the idea of it.
Does the harmonious blend of cedarwood and lavender resonate with the warrior within? And as the scent settles, can you sense the warmth of amber and musk leaving an indelible mark on the soul? Discover the answers in the scent that beckons the primal, the enigmatic. Embrace the spirit of the warrior. Broken Wolf by Skull Fragrances. Can you hear the call?
Ember.
Black pepper for some reason. Biostock. He's smelling like black pepper on an average Tuesday afternoon.
Like a wolf.
I never knew that bergamot was a fancy word for an orange, but it's an orange.
Bro's trying to make me smell like black peppers and orange for no fucking reason.
Hey man, that's hot as fuck.
Black peppers, it's just black pepper.
What about white peppers?
If I walk past someone wearing that, I look twice.
I mean, you telling me you're not going out every day
It's the
smelling like
hottest
hardwood beer and
That
shit?
was the #1 Valentine's Day gift this year. Don't you gaslight my...
Don't you gaslight me?
Oh, so we're using fancy terms like gaslighting now?
The enigmatic.
Well,
Persevering.
bergamot and enigmatic, you know, how fancy we gotta get. I miss
the smell.
the smell.
That was like... I gotta admit, that was a really good commercial, though. I do respect that.
I just always imagined, like, Ray Stevenson reminds me of like a guy, like a family friend that my parents knew. Like, he was like my second grandpa growing up, and he always had like this musky cologne. So Ray Stevenson has always reminded me of that guy. So I was like, dude, we gotta make a cologne.
You need a cologne that resonates with the warrior within.
Discover the answers in the sin that beckons the primal.
Oh, dude, we need to make more commercials like that.
The enigmatic. The all-new.
Spoken
Skull fragrance.
Can you hear the call?
Can you hear the call? Within. We just did that whole bit for fucking. Oh my god, no! I can't believe this. This is
Stay on
stupid.
track, stay on track, boy.
All a part of the plan. So,
Oh god.
y'all better grab some fucking seat. I don't think that's of the type of case here where it can be done. I don't think someone who says the creator of a whole universe is a misogynist can be separated from her work. It's not like Kanye where, I mean, no, Kanye's a bad example. Kanye is inexcusable. He's just,
Kanye.
the beat's fire though. The beat's
Kanye
fire.
is fucking crazy, but the beat is fire, yes.
But the beat's fire. But like, nah, it's like Leslie, like I'm just so sick of anybody like shoehorning in political messaging to Star Wars, or like even if she didn't even explicitly say that, like even factoring any type of that like language into like an interview that's about Star Wars is just meh.
Yeah, that was real flexible. True. Real life politics.
Yes.
Oh god, we're about to get Opie going. Oh no.
For example, George Lucas literally based Palpatine on the time of what you looks like. And then once the prequels came out, it was more commentary on the Bush administration.
These sticks out of my administration.
Misinterpret, like when people say, oh, Star Wars is too good. We mean that in a way of it shouldn't have to pander to one certain group. It should affect everybody in some sort of similar way.
It also shouldn't reflect our world's politics in the ways that don't matter.
But the only reason I like that story is because it's based off of, or it's based in hundreds of years before Phantom Menace, and it's probably going to be the only thing for a while that will take place before the prequels that we see on screen.
That's honestly the only thing I'm okay with, because it's set so far before the Phantom Menace. I really don't have a problem with like what Leslie tries to do with it, because we haven't seen anything live action wise or like even animation wise that is that far behind of like what we've seen so far. Besides, like if you don't count like KOTOR games, but like it's kind of like a situation. It's kind of like a what do you call it? Like a Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League situation where it's like they're not technically. It's the same universe, the same world, but it's a different point in time, and it's still like what I'm hoping is still gonna uphold and like respect the lore.
Actually,
Yeah, right.
I think we're familiar with that one school Star Wars show that they came out with. I haven't seen that. I think that's how you call it. That technically about that.
Well, she has a clean slate here. We haven't seen this. We haven't seen Star Wars in live action at this point in time. So she actually has the opportunity to do something unique, you know?
She does have that opportunity.
Well, more likely than not, she'd fuck it up. Let's be real. Like yeah. She's a really...
Yeah, like, I don't want to like sugarcoat it, because like Disney and Star Wars has a track record, and I don't want to like give the attitude of like, oh, it's a new person, let's give it a shot. It's like, yeah, I used to have that attitude, but then like when I hear that the person who's new and like the new writer or director is like spouting like activist shit and like all this other politics shit, it's like, then I already know it's gonna go south because every other director and writer did the exact same thing, and this is happening across the board for multiple franchises, not just Star Wars. And everyone's like, oh my god, why did it flop? It's like, well, did you see what they said when they first said they were gonna make a movie or the show? Did you really pay attention to what they were doing? Did you pay attention to what they did before they made this?
I think she's trying to villainize the Jedi in a way, and it's just like,
She is, bro.
it's not supposed to be how it goes.
Well, it's not even just that, but Disney's approach to the Force itself and just like good and evil, it's just like, well, there's no really actual good and evil. It's like, yes, there is. Like they're trying to misconstrue it into saying that like, the Sith aren't really the bad guys. Like, it's like, no, the Sith are 100% the bad guys. They're xenophobes, they enslave people, they sell people, they distribute drugs everywhere. Complete organized, I would say unorganized, but also organized chaos, depending on if you're in the Outer Rim or not. But it is like the Empire is a definitive evil. Like that's kind of like for 50 years they're tyrants and they dominate the galaxy while Vader kills a bunch of Jedi. Like they're pretty evil, I'd say, compared to like the Republic.
Yeah, the Empire literally went out of their way to enslave a race and wipe them out as soon as they were creating the Death Star.
Yeah, they used to build the Death Star. It's crazy, bro.
Did you guys
They also used the Geonosians.
did they like not watch Andor when like he was stuck in a slave camp for like ages? Like in a prison where like you don't like go out, and you get
And they
thrown the cell and looking at it just getting on the beach.
I don't know what it was. I liked Andor. Everything. I don't know what it was though, but like something about like everything about that show felt like mostly like Star Wars, or at least like that era when it was supposed to be. Up until it got to the prison area, that like entire like prison comic books thing he went to, that did not feel like anything from Star Wars in my opinion. That felt like some Star Trek like fucking like other world shit. Cause yeah, Blade Runner, it didn't have like a dude. It was like all white. The Empire works with white, but like they're mostly they keep shit like really dark black and gray to keep people invested. Yeah, they keep it in the dark. They keep you like it's confined. It's like no Empire facility is well lit. You shouldn't be able to see where you're walking or going. You should have to see like the white Imperial guards standing in the black hallway because they're fucking terrifying. And their presence, their empirical presence, they're the face of the Empire. It's what they're designed to do, and yet they're not even using Imperial stormtroopers. They're just having these like orange and gray black suit guys who are just like, nah, I'm gonna poke you with this fucking stick, nah, see? And then it's just like it doesn't really feel like a big threat.
It's the equivalent of either having forces or military MPs actually guarding your quarters, or having mall cops. Like, that's
Something
the best
I
way
thought
I
was
can
funny
explain it.
though, the one thing I did like about Andor, they're kind of like very fast scene, like quick scene of like the judicial system for the Empire and how it works, because it's like you see Andor go to trial and whatever, or Cassian go to trial, and it's just like, you did this? Alright, fuck you, case dismissed, get the fuck out of here, you're going to jail. And I was like, I feel like I've seen this before, but I don't know where.
Happens in America all the time.
I just want to go back to the acolyte scene about her kind of possibly making the Jedi look like the bad guys. I just hope she takes notes from those old legend stories like Darth Bane or Darth Plagueis. Like, those are stories starring Siths as the protagonists of the story, but they're not good people. They are bad, evil people.
Because it's supposed to be about two Jedi investigating, like, some Sith infiltrating the Jedi Order. But doesn't that kind of breaks canon, doesn't it?
A little bit.
Disney seems to do a lot of that. They're like, hey guys, listen, we're just gonna break canon
Consistency.
one more time, but then we're gonna fix it like a year later with another small project that everybody's gonna have to watch because we're going the MCU route where everything's leading up to the sequels. We're doing a reverse MCU. We're gonna do the big project first, then we do all the little projects, and then it's gonna lead to nowhere because we have no plan.
Why is this so
And then on top of that, we're going to take all these, we're somehow going to make them super integral to the actual big we're leading up to. So you have to watch them to be able to understand the story.
Well, here's my thing about it. Shouldn't the Sith not be revealing themselves at all? Because
That's such yes. Oh my god.
Kiadi Mundi says, and I quote, "Impossible. The Sith are extinct. They have been gone for nearly a millennium." You gonna tell me that 80
Yeah.
years before the Phantom Menace is a millennium in Star Wars? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, they
They've been
should be fighting against an isolated event. Like these Sith in the show should just be dealing with, I don't know, bandits or whatever the antagonist is. It can't be Jedi.
Maybe the Sith kill these Jedi on the mission. Who knows?
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
What I'm really confused on is like Disney's like area, like where like I can't. I'm struggling to find their like gray area for like what they are afraid to show and what they will show. Because like we'll go from something like Kenobi where they're like, oh yeah, we can cut a stormtrooper in half with a laser gate. That's fine. But later we're just gonna have the lightsaber look like a baseball bat. And then we're gonna basically remove all sense of like what's the word I'm looking for? We're gonna remove all sense of like fucking like that sense of like feeling you get when you're involved in the fucking universe, like that the fucking
Engagement.
Yeah, engagement. My God, we're just gonna suck all of the engagement out. And you're gonna feel like you're just watching a Seinfeld episode.
Oh yeah.
It was in like, oh my god, like they like
So
even
like,
when,
I don't really. Why can't we just go back to the day, like the Force Unleashed universe, where you could actually cut people in half with lightsabers?
Well,
Shut
this is so many people like don't look into this, which is like I just something that astounds me is like about like some parts of the fan base of Star Wars is like Disney is known for being Disney. They have a track record of them being themselves as a corporation, and yet when it comes to Star Wars, they won't look like, especially now, like the most prevalent time to be like looking into like what Disney does and like how they manage shit, how they hire people, how they get rid of people, how they handle social media, everything. Like that is like one of the most important things because it's like how if you're looking at all these other aspects, it helps you understand how the company operates and how they're going to make decisions and how they're going to execute things. And you know, when you go into their SEC filings and you find out that you know they're hiring people based on race and gender, and if they're an activist, as compared to you worked on the prequel trilogy and you were there for the original trilogy,
You're a
and
white straight male.
yeah, like it's like they have an agenda. It's not what it should be, and it's like it's skewing what. Like it skews like the love and like it sucks out all of like the hope for like anything new and innovative to come out that's gonna like blow us away, because even now it's like it's even more heart-wrenching because we can't ever have anything with like Han, Luke, and Leia again because everyone's either passed away or they're too old, and Disney's already disgraced their characters in every way, shape, or form, and they just don't like the fans. Clearly they don't like fans because they've chosen a side. They've chosen the small, very 10% minority group to pander to them, and it's obviously fucking them over. Their stocks are going down, everything's going down. It's like they're not doing well. Bob Iger, I don't know if you guys have paid attention in the past week, but like a bunch of stuff has been coming out with like Bob Iger and like just like interviews and stuff, and like Bob Iger basically Bob and like I can't remember the other guy's name, but Bob was basically saying they're kind of just throwing spaghetti at the wall, just trying to see what sticks, and nothing. Like, yeah, and Bob is like literally nothing is sticking. So Bob is just like, yeah, no, we're just gonna keep doing the same thing. Don't expect much change, because we don't know. They can't create anything new. They don't know what they're like. What even if it's like new, it's like they're not really making anything new. They're just kind of trying to make a sad, pathetic attempt at what should be, and which is why I go back to the fucking SEC filings, because it's like if we had people who were qualified and worked on the prequel trilogy and were there for the original trilogy and were fans and read Legends and read all of the books and stuff and listened to the audiobooks and cared about all this shit and the super deep lore, it's like then we would have great projects, because the Star Wars fans are meticulous.
Like knowing the lore, it's also just being like a decent writer enough to where you do make
and a decent human being.
Well, yeah, but well, morality aside, I just want something that's well written again, and not just something that I can see coming from a mile away, or something that I know is going to turn into something that wouldn't really be serviceable to the universe as a whole.
Well,
and
yeah.
I also just want to add a disclaimer here. We're not, quote unquote, hating on Disney Star Wars. We wanted to succeed. We wanted to succeed.
Yeah.
Yes.
But they keep making so many different decisions that are just head scratchers.
Yeah.
If I could,
It's literally the only Star Wars we got. We can't afford to let it fail and blunder.
at the end of the day, I love that we're just still getting Star Wars, because that wasn't a thing 10 years ago, until 11 years ago. And I think that we all agree here. It's like we're not the type to be like, you're wrong for your opinion if you do like this. Like, I respect that. Like, I've always said, like, if you love it, like, I've heard people like some legitimate reasons for why people like look up to Rey, and it's like, oh yeah, like I can attribute that to how some of us look up to Luke Skywalker or Anakin, and it's not that like, oh, you're wrong for your opinion, like that's wrong. And if I can just, the problem is like when the writers and Kathleen and these people, they give pushback for their negative responses, and it's like, what happened to the customer is always right, it's like, you put out something and we simply don't like it, and it's like, well, you're just flawed. It's like, well, how do you think that makes me feel? It's like, how does that make all of us who have been here, it kind of makes some of us feel dumb. It's like, oh, you're the guy in charge of saying I'm wrong because I don't like what you put out.
Not so much feeling dumb as much as it is like feeling disenfranchised.
Yeah, it's like the whole thing being like, we as a collective community of Star Wars fans have been so accustomed to being submerged in great content, but now that all of this great content was literally just like, oh hey, we got this now, and then Kathleen just threw it out the window and said, there's never really been a lot of source material for Star Wars, and then she just takes all of the canon material that we love, throws it out the window, creates new shit, and then whenever we criticize the new shit, she's like, oh well, you're just a terrible person, sexist, misogynist, racist, and all that shit because you don't like the new shit.
And then you have to wonder why every Marvel project coming out, you see the directors and the writers, and you get these behind-the-scenes interviews, and all of them say the strange same thing. I was told not to go and read the comics. I was never much of a comic reader. I didn't like the comics as much. It's almost like there's a specific pattern going on that Disney decides to allocate for, and they're just like, it's encouraged for the people who know nothing. Like they're so in, like they want new people so bad. They have this idea that if they bring people in who know nothing about the universe, that it'll somehow work in their favor, which is the most mind-boggling thing ever, because they did that for the Halo TV show, and I think we all know how that's working out, because, I mean, look
Yeah.
at it. Like, they literally said they hired people who didn't like Halo, or, like, didn't play the games, or read the comics or anything, and hired them to make the show. It's like the people who are making those decisions are batshit insane.
To choose to recruit people who have never like the franchises that they are responsible for now trying to craft.
It's a Kathleen Kennedy idea.
Yeah.
Headland hired people on the Acolyte that don't really understand how Star Wars works.
Yeah, none of them have read the source material, and that's
Yeah, so when you do that, when you go and do that, like, say for the Halo example, you hire people that don't actually like what they're working on. Who are you targeting this show at? Like, who's your target audience? It's called Halo, so you'd think you'd target Halo fans.
Yeah.
Same with the what you said just before, Angel. The Leslie, whatever the fuck her name is. Yeah. If she hires people, or if she herself hasn't read the comics, she has no idea what she's referring to, like all the lore and shit. Like, who are you targeting this project at?
She has been since she was little, and it's just like, why? I feel like everybody says that. Everybody's kind of...
They literally do,
Yeah,
because
okay.
anyone who watches a single Star Wars movie is gonna say, "I love this universe. I love the character." But at the end of the day, it's probably gonna be what, you know, their version of it. But that's my issue with Kathy, or with like Disney Star Wars, is it's never a direct adaptation. It is always their skewed version of it, how they see it, how they think it should be, and it's bad.
We're not expecting any Star Wars project to be absolutely perfect or one-to-one. We're not expecting that at all. What we're expecting is something competent and something that adds something to the universe.
Baseline competent, like something that actually serves as like film.
Well, not just like lore-wise, just something that's hopeful that gives you hope for the franchise again. That's what Mando season 1 and 2 was, and they screwed it up.
And you know what? If I'm being honest, Bad Batch feels like a step in the right direction.
Bad Batch, I feel, is a return to some sort of form, but I feel like animation can't carry it all. I feel like we're going to need some live action shows that actually carry the load. Or not even shows anymore. I'm tired of shows.
Yeah, fuck the shows.
I really need Star Wars.
Sick of these weekly releases.
Yeah, because it's like we have not got to see Star Wars in the theaters before COVID, and like, you know, everybody was like, like everybody was so happy to go back to a fucking movie theater after COVID. You know, it was like late 2021, 22. Literally the last movie I saw in theaters was Rise of Skywalker, because it came out in the end of 2019. And, you know, it's just that, like, there's a way to do shows and everything, but the way, and this is another thing, if I can just like real quick talk on this, it's a marketing scheme, like when they do this whole like 6 episode, 8 episode, because the thing is it's like you get a full month of content, then they get you for the second month, but you don't get the whole second month. You know, it's like, 8 weeks, 6 weeks, that means you have to pay for a second month of Disney Plus, but you don't get the full month out of it unless you're, you know, I mean, unless you're watching Marvel or, you know, Frozen or like the other stuff that's out there. I mean, obviously that's like the hub for all of Star Wars and all of like the MCU now, you know, so there's still like a lot of stuff on there that people still go back and watch, but it's like there's still a lot of people that like want to keep up with these things, and it's like, they just did it for the sake of getting 2 months out of you, and it's like that's not only like kind of shitty towards us, but it's like you're not even seeking longevity at that point. You're just like, let's see what we can do to keep you for 2 months, and who cares about the rest? Like you don't really have any dignity. It just seems like they don't have dignity in themselves.
It's just about money. It's literally all
Yeah.
about money.
It's just
Nothing
about
is
all
about
numbers,
the
bro.
fans. Nothing is about the lore. They see it as a giant paycheck.
They have Mr. Krabs at the head of Disney at this point. Like,
Yeah.
they're
Meanwhile,
so
you
big.
look over at Netflix, and they just released the entire 8 episodes of Avatar: The Last Airbender, and it all came out at the same time.
Mr.
Yeah, right?
Krabs taking my $7.99 once a month.
Oh yeah,
Also,
and I
Mr.
also
Krabs
like
replacing Kathleen Kennedy.
I also like
No,
to joke
fuck
about
you.
weekly releases, and I'm like, weekly releases? What is this? Cable television?
Yeah.
I love Netflix for that. Like every time Stranger Things comes out or any other show adaptation, like that's so
Replace Bob Iger with Skeletor.
for
I
real.
prefer Skeletor's own Netflix.
Yeah, give them Ewok adventures. More seasons. Give 99 Ewoks.
99 seasons of Ewok Adventures. That starting kid better look like a fucking skeleton by season 12 on by season 29.
Back on the Acolyte, here's my thing about why I'm hopeful for it. Number one, actual Jedi martial arts will be back.
Hell yeah, baby.
Actual sword dueling will be back. I'm actually really excited about that because they compared it to stuff like The Matrix and stuff. Funny enough, my girl from The Matrix is actually in the series. Was it Jodie? No, not Jodie Turner-Smith. Carrie-Anne Moss from The Matrix Trinity. She's in The Acolyte. So that was
Oh, nice.
They also got the guy from the main character from Squid Game. It's supposed to be action, adventure, mystery, crime drama. First of all, that sounds really cool to be in Star Wars.
Does sound good.
That seems awesome. Can you imagine?
It's a lot of
Can you imagine,
labels.
like, imagine Law and Order Star Wars. That's pretty much what this is set up to be, but with Jedi investigators. And I'm like, they have all of this going for them, and I just don't want them to mess it up. I don't want them to mess it up. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful.
We'll
for
see.
it, but I'm also like, man.
I'm prepared to be let down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopes up.
It's
I've been prepared. It's like dad leaving.
kind of like MJ from Spider-Man: No Way Home, where it's just like, if you expect disappointment, you're not going to be disappointed. Where it's just like,
Don't even
We're at
start
that
with
point
MJ.
now. We're at that point.
yeah, we're at a point.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
that's kind of my gripe with normie fans is like they're like, oh, you just don't like anything. Like you just do you like anything? It's like I actually like a lot. I just don't like any of the crap that has been put out in the past 5 years. None of it is good.
The sludge is what we have a problem.
I want consistent quality. I don't want sludge on a plate.
You goddamn right.
say if
Brown
that Acolyte flops,
sludge.
what do you suggest they do from there?
I can't see any damage control happening, honestly. Like unless they go full send and go like bring in Jorah Sabath and are like, you know what, fuck it, let's make a Luke clone and let's go like the Legends route. Let's give the fans what they really want. There's no like, cause like this is honestly like this is the, in my opinion, this is the last stop. Like this is where like, cause this is Palpatine. They showed Palpatine like. This is like, in my opinion, what from what I can see is like their last final chance to be like, hey, we can go the route that is gonna probably fuck us over in the end, which we all know they're probably going the sequels route and trying to connect it, but they could go the other route and save it.
Hopefully not.
Honestly,
take me to the timeline, please.
I think they just need to drop projects for like a year or two, honestly. And just go back to the drawing board and figure out what the fuck is going on.
Oh, like
Honestly.
put everything on hiatus. You mean?
Yeah, and either rethink it, redesign it, or make up entirely new shit. Because what they've been doing since what? Since they bought Lucasfilm.
10 years ago.
Yes, they've been doing nothing but shit.
Sheet.
And it's
Shit.
like,
Okay.
alarm bells are going off. They need to do something here.
Like what? Mando season 1, season 2.
Well, you got 3 feature films that were just, dumpster fire.
Passable.
Yeah, that was passable. That was like
There's problems, but it's passable.
that would have been, and the rest of the trilogy was good. You know, like that was a good starting.
He'll be 10 years old
stepping stone.
next year.
I'm just sick of having to like find reasons to like say it's like decent or passable. Like I've never had to make an argument for like the Return of the Jedi, like even or like the prequels. Like even if the prequels has like dialogue that I fucking hate or whatever, it's like I'm not gonna hate the movie or the trilogy overall because of some bad dialogue. It's like the sequels is like there's so much to objectively hate and like there's just so many objective flaws in both like the way it's filmed, shot, and made, and overall just the lore and story building and character growth. It's just like little to no character growth that there is. It's just so sloppy, and like that's my issue with normie fans is they look at the sequels and they're like it's fine, it's okay. It's like okay, but you like it sounds snobby, but it's like you don't understand the magic of how it's made then, because if you think the sequels are like decent or like okay, then it's like then you really like how can you say like you understand the magic of Return of the Jedi or like the not Return of the Jedi but like the OT or like the prequels or like even Clone Wars or whatever. Like it just doesn't make a lot of sense in my brain.
The OT and the prequels is the bar, right? That's what they need to display, and they have not done that at all.
Like the fact that the prequels were hated, and that the sequels have made fans look back at the prequels fondly so much that that Disney had to fold and bring in Hayden, and be like, okay, maybe we can keep a few more fans, maybe we can keep a few more 100 million fans around if we just bring in Ewan and Hayden again, just maybe. Which, to be honest, they did, but.
Yeah, desperation.
Underutilization.
Yeah.
Y'all have to bring it. Okay.
I'm just tired. I'm tired, Alfred.
We're all tired.
I'm so tired.
But that's gonna do it for this premiere episode of season 2 of the PRAXCAST. We're so happy you guys could join us.
Yeah, baby.
Join us about nerding out and rambling about things. I'm so glad that Rinks and Morgoth could be here, Vader God as well, Opie.
You goddamn.
Oh, yeah.
For half of it, woohoo!
The best cast I've ever asked for.
Yeah.
We have a few projects coming for the Praxian channel for you guys to look out for. So currently I'm working on a Son of Dathomir motion comic series.
Voiceovers,
yes. So we have a bunch of our voice acting friends coming in. Got some of these guys involved with the project as well. Opie's Palpatine, Corey,
yes.
just to name a few. We're really excited about this project because it was one of the story arcs that we missed out on in the Clone Wars, because it was supposed to be a season 6 arc, but they cut it ultimately. So we'll be happy to bring this story to life for you guys. Corvus and I are also Legends content, so we'll look out for that. And yeah, we're just excited to bring more quality content to you guys. And we'll be.
Oh, and also,
yeah.
remember to subscribe to our OnlyFans.
Don't forget the Beefcake Jedi Daddy t-shirts.
Beefcake Jedi Daddy t-shirts.
No, have tipped and subscribed to Darth Vader's OnlyFans.
Wrinkly toe pics.
And the Balin.
Watch out for weekly Darth Vader stuff.
Darth Vader burnt toe pics are $14.99.
Bend shoot a dark side.
He doesn't even have toes. You can't show his toe pics. They're
I
burnt
gave him
chickens.
bodic toes.
Bye now.
He's
Say hi to your dogs.
May the